Welcome once again into our podcast today on our Friday edition of Morning Moments with Jesus. I pray you've had a great week this week. I know it's here where we live, it's been very cold. We've had some snow and just a typical winter here in the South. But I pray that through all of this, you've had a little more time maybe to just spend some time with Jesus and spend some time in our devotions. Pray that you've gleaned a lot of wisdom and knowledge by spending time with the Lord. That's the reason why we always say here on our devotion time and our podcast, it's very important to get to that morning meeting with Jesus Christ. And this morning, as we come together, it's a subject that's pressed upon my spirit this morning, and I believe it's for such a time that I need it personally, but perhaps someone here in our Morning Moments family needs it as well. And the question comes up this morning: how do we know when it's time to let go? Life has a way of teaching us that we can't carry everything forever. Some things are meant to stay for a lifetime, while other things are only for a season. And yet, if we're honest, letting go is one of the most hardest things to do for us. Whether it's a dream we've nurtured for years, a relationship that maybe we've outgrown, or a chapter in our life that we're just not ready to close. We often hold on longer than we should, if we're honest. So why do we tend to do that? I asked myself this question this morning. Why do we tend to hold on to things too long? Maybe it's because letting go sometimes feels like a loss. It feels like saying goodbye to something familiar, something that once brought us comfort, joy, and meaning in our life. But what if letting go isn't about loss at all? What if it's about making space for something new? God often asks us to release things, not to leave us empty, but to prepare us for what is next in our life. Holding on too long can keep us from receiving new blessings He wants to give us. Because when our hands are too full of yesterday, we have no room for tomorrow's blessings. The Bible reminds us of that in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse number 1. You may know it well, but it says, "To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven." Seasons change. So do things that God asks us to carry. But how do we know when it's time to let go? No one has all the answers to that question, but there are a few things and a few signs that I have noticed through the years. One of them is when it no longer brings you peace, it may be time to let it go. One of the greatest indicators that it's time to release something is when you no longer have peace about it. Maybe you once did, but now it weighs you down, drains your spirit, maybe even fills you with anxiety. God's plan always comes with peace. So if something is constantly stealing your joy, it just might be time to let it go. Another thing that I've noticed is when God has closed that door, then you know it's time to let it go. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Sometimes we try to force open doors that God has already closed. We beg for a relationship to stay, or a job to work out, or an opportunity to come back. But if God has shut the door, it's because what's on the other side is no longer meant for you. So instead of pounding on a closed door, trust Him by walking through the one that He's opened. Also, when holding on hurts more than letting go, changes is uncomfortable, but sometimes staying in the wrong place is even more painful. If something is causing you more harm than good, it's time to release it. Letting go may be painful at first, but it will lead to healing, and that's according to God's Word. When God is stirring your heart for more in life, you got to let go of something if you're going to ever get more. Have you ever felt unsettled, like you're meant for something more, but you can't seem to just step into it? That's often God's way of nudging you forward. So if you feel called to a new season, but fear is holding you back, Trust that God's plans are greater than your comfort zone. Sometimes we hold on because we're afraid of change, afraid of the unknown, afraid of being without something or someone. But God hasn't called us to live in fear. He calls us to walk in faith. So if fear is the only thing keeping you tied to something, that's a clear sign it might be time to let go. Letting go isn't just about releasing, it's about receiving. God never asked us to let go of something without having something greater for us. But if we keep clinging to what was, we might miss what He's trying to give us now. I have a saying that God gave me years ago that comes back to my memory this morning. That says to dwell on the possibilities of what might be is to overlook the beauty of what really is. So what if instead of mourning what was, you begin to trust in the beauty of what lies ahead? This morning God sent me to tell you that a new season awaits you. There is beauty in every season, both in holding on and letting go, but some of life's most beautiful moments can only come when we have the courage to release what is no longer useful to us. So if God is asking you to let go of something today, then you're going to have to trust that He isn't taking something away and leaving you empty. He is making space for something greater. Don't let fear keep you from stepping into that new season that He has for you. Yeah, maybe it's time to close a chapter. Say goodbye to an old dream or walk away from a place that no longer serves you. Maybe it's time to surrender the things you've been gripping so tightly and place them in God's hand this morning. Because when you let go, you're not creating a void. You're just making room. You're making room for new joy, new peace, and new blessings. You're making room for the beautiful moments that might never come if your hands remain too full of the past. So this morning, take a deep breath. Open your hands, open your heart, open your mind. Now let go. Let go and watch how God fills them again with something brand new. Today you be safe, you be strong, and you be blessed. You have a great weekend, and you get before the Lord and say, Lord, am I holding on so tightly to things that I can't receive the new things that you have for me? May God bless you, and may God keep you, and may you have a great and wonderful day.